I'm going to walk you through the sample papers that you see here. There are two of them, and they are similar. Both of these papers followed an assignment that is actually a little bit different than the one you're working on. That's important information for you to know up front because the main differences are that these students were required to use something called the Oxford English Dictionary for one of their scholarly sources. That is not a requirement for your project. You will also see that they have four and not five annotations, and that's important to know as well. In a general sense, though, these two sample papers do follow the rest of the assignment. They are on topics that have to do with the English language. When you move down, you'll see here that the student Shrinal Pereira has used the template that I have loaded with the journal and with other lessons. The template is something that students will use and write directly inside of to do their work on this annotated bibliography and proposal. The template is used by taking the notes from the previous journal and basically transferring or translating them into paragraph and sentence form, matching it up inside of the document that I provided as the template. I'll have a short separate lesson on that. Once you get inside the document, you can see that the student has overwritten the document of the template, overwriting it meaning writing on top of what's there and erasing as he went. You'll see that there are a few small mistakes, like a missing period right here. Nothing particularly troubling. It did receive a high grade. You can tell by looking at the document the approximate length and expectation of length for the various aspects that you see here in the writing. It begins with a short overview of what's in the document, and then the first annotation begins. There's the citation, the summary, and then the relevance. That is the other difference between what these students were assigned and what you were assigned. Your template and your lessons will say not relevance, but evaluation. When you look through what this student did, you can notice the use of the last names and the years paired up like this with APA formatting for the in-text citations. When you scroll down, you'll see more of that in the other annotations. That's that Oxford English Dictionary source that you're not required to use. Annotation number 3 is a peer-reviewed scholarly article, very similar to what you're expected to do. And here you'll see that pattern again with the last name and the year that is part of APA writing. And then last but not least is the non-scholarly source. Those are the annotations. And then next is the rationale. The rationale part of your paper is due at a later stage of your work. The rationale section pulls together the various sources. So if you didn't even read it, you could jump from last name to last name. And by the way, these are difficult last names because they're Sri Lankan. You can find the last names and the in-text citations very easily by just finding the parentheses in here because it has the years. You'll see there's a little bit of personal writing in this section. You might want to pause and read that. You'll see it's fairly short, that rationale. We're going to move now into sample number 2. Similar in that it's using the template. Has the little blurb at the top providing a gloss or overview of the project, the citation, and then the summary and relevance, what we're calling the evaluation, begins. You'll see some great examples of APA citations happening in this short paragraph with last names and years followed by last name, year, and page number here when there's a direct quote. Those things reflect the lessons that are part of this project. You'll see now that the second annotation begins. This is the reflection of using the Oxford English Dictionary, which again is not required for your particular project. The third annotation is for a scholarly source. You'll see that I left note there in red where I thought it could have been a little bit better. And then beneath this, there is the non-scholarly source, followed by the rationale. In the rationale, just like the other student did, this student connects together the different sources by writing about how they're related and then why he chose it. You'll be doing the same thing for yours. Those are what the examples are, and the template that they were created with will be in a separate short lesson. Thanks for watching.